This is Christoph Yalik.
This is Just Janet.
And this is K. Collie.
And this is
the Just Nuggets Podcast.
Yes, sir. We won game one.
Hey.
We're not too far away. Three more. This is the Just Nuggets Podcast. I'm K. Collie. On the microphone, we also have Christoph Yalik.
What up?
How you doing? All is well?
Yeah, hey, I'm excited about what has occurred, but as Michael Malone said post-game, it don't mean nothing.
Yeah, we haven't done anything yet. JJ, how you doing?
I'm feeling good. I was thinking about how different it is when you're in the finals. I mean, I watch all kinds of things on television related to sports.
Mainly
and
Hallmark movies.
Yeah, right. But other than that, NBA finals, and it's all about the Nuggets, and it's so surreal. I mean, it's just, I'm happy. I start smiling. I see people I know like Joker and Jamal and AG and, you know, I'm like, wow, this is about us. We're really here.
To your point, I really do appreciate two things. This is like I don't know why I'm taking it to the COVID, but you remember when we were COVID, everybody was forced to watch the NBA draft, forced to watch The Last Dance, so everybody had to watch how great Michael Jordan was.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the first time where casual NBA fans that just never were watching the Nuggets, never got to see him, is like, you're forced to watch Nikola Jokic for these next 4 games, 4 to 7 games.
Yeah.
You're forced to watch Jamal Murray play at a high level, and you're forced to watch this Nuggets team that you guys have been discounting for so long. So it's really cool to see it from that perspective. And they're forced to talk about us.
Yeah,
they're definitely forced to talk about us. You know, you go on the news and they're bringing the trophy in with some skydivers, and you realize that they're Colorado skydivers, probably from the Air Force Academy.
They're very much so the only show in town.
They show our mountains with the white peaks on them. They show downtown Denver.
Yeah, they're doing clip pieces from Red Rocks and talking.
So they got to walk around Red Rocks.
You know what I mean?
They got to see.
Yeah, so they're experiencing the Colorado lifestyle in full force, and that's really cool because, you know, like I said, they're the only show in town at the moment, and they're playing extremely well.
And everybody's here. You know, lots of people that you see all the time on all the shows, or the radio people, or whoever it is, they're here. And they have to be focused on who? The Nuggets. I know the Heat, but the Heat's been here many times. It's the first time, 47 years for us. They have to be. And you know what? Someone said that, you know, we hold their feet to the fire because we're not going to let them up, and we should not. They should be talking about us. They should be, when they leave here, they should know as much as they can about Joker, as much as they can about Jamal, as much as they can about
even though they have a through-line narrative, which is cool. I think fans of all sports, of all teams, they're going to know their team more intricately than the national media or the general audience. So I just think that the takeaway that a lot of the casuals and the media will take away is that it's Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and then they have a lot of talent.
And that's good.
And that's
I'll take that.
I'll take that too. And I think this team is they're so intricate in terms of like what they can bring to a basketball court that when you cast them aside as, you know, the roles that is. But the thing is, we talked about it all season. When you have the dude in the middle, who's steady hand,
Mr. Jokic,
cool hand Luke, you know what I mean? Like he can do everything very effortlessly. Like, I heard people very casually say, "Oh, that was the easiest triple-double I've ever seen." I was like, I've actually seen him get way more chill ones.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's the thing is we pay attention to it. This is surprising you, and that's what I thoroughly came out. I just got a biggest smile, because they're in the finals. To your point,
yes,
Jays. But then the fact that, like, when I saw how they're gonna play their game, you know, game one at home, and this looked like a Nuggets game in January. It looked like a Nuggets game from, you know, that debacle to start the season against Utah in Salt Lake. So, like, just seeing them playing that gave me a calm ease that I'm like, okay, they're not going to play outside themselves.
No.
Even though they shot like absolute garbage. I believe they were 30% from the field or from the three-pointer.
From three-point,
Which is interesting because everyone's
talking about Miami, how bad they
did.
We shot 29.6%.
There you go.
From the three-point line.
And I'm like, you know, and we'll get into this in a minute because I want to finish this point out. But they were talking about what they could do to get better. I was like, shoot, we can just shoot our threes and hit, and we get that many more points. Or if you got an unleashed joker, there you go. I mean, we still have some weapons, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. I just think that it's a good thing that we're here and you're learning more about our team, and we love them, and hopefully at the end of this, everyone else will love them. And one final point I was going to make about the ratings. I was going to look at the TV ratings, and because they're boring. This is not fun, and you hear people saying that, but yet what we're bringing to NBA basketball is the team. We're a team in Denver. We've always been a team. That we have an individual, we have a great one, we have a 2-time MVP. I get it. That's what we have, that glowing superstar individual as well. Yeah. But we also have Michael Malone has been talking about this forever and ever, to have everyone on the team be impactful, and everyone is being impactful, and so they're seeing that as well, and I think that's critical.
For the ratings, it drew 7.62 million viewers.
Yep.
Which was a little bit down from last year, but you got to remember last year they had Boston and Golden State.
Yes.
So Golden State's been,
but
in
not very much down from them.
They said 5%, but I'm looking at the numbers and it's more than 5% because it was down from 11.4.
And I'm going to tell you why that's 11.4. I read that same tweet. That's because they put in all the streaming services and everything else. Just that was a rebuttal tweet that put that 11.4 in there, that took everything else and did not add it to our 7.4. If you look at
that 7.4 is going up, basically.
It could go going up because that's just simple TV. That's not streaming. That's not everything else.
So they were trying to dilute numbers.
They were trying to make a point about we were still down, but it's not true.
5% overall.
I think it's a couple 5%. Things. I think the ratings to this Nuggets fan personally don't matter to me, because if it's just us three watching the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals going after this chip, I don't care about the ratings. You know what I mean? Obviously, there was a bunch of people live in attendance there that were in it. And it's just like having ratings to me just means you have the draw. And that's why the NBA loves that, is having this. But sometimes the basketball, like these two teams are playing excellent basketball. Like if you just want to watch the finals and these two varying different types of basketball could be played, that clearly worked because the Nuggets took out all the names. The only name they didn't take out was Steph Curry.
Yeah.
They took out brands, as did the Miami Heat. They took out the New York Knicks.
They did.
They took out the Boston Celtics. They took out Giannis. These two teams took out all that stuff. So
and that's usually happens when you get to this level of basketball. So, but they seem to forget.
You know what I mean?
That.
Because they're trying to play the narrative. It's a very weird thing. It's like, I heard this tweet sidebar. It was like, people the news tells the narrative, not the news. And the news is the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat are in the finals.
Sure.
The narrative is, the Celtics aren't, the Lakers aren't, LeBron's not.
Compelling teams.
These aren't compelling. That's the narrative.
They're not the best. To Paul Pierce's point, they're not the best two teams.
Which is silly, because it's just absolutely silly. So and NBA is a little bit different. So you have to deal with the ratings conversation and the surplus of casuals, because it's not like hockey, where right now it's the cup final starts tonight, and it's not a bunch of casuals go tune in. I heard this a couple weeks ago. Like in hockey, majority of the time is like, if your team keeps going, that fan base, they keep watching. You know what I mean? So last year, everybody in Denver was tuning in.
Sure. Yes, we were. Oh, yes, we were.
You know what I mean? And I bet there's gonna be a lot of households tuning into Game 1 tonight. But if you look at it from last year, this year, same within Tampa for the last 3 years in their case. So it just varies like that. So you have to deal with these surplus of casuals. The Nuggets and them in the Heat that's the news. So
we could put a pin in this, but I just want to say something else. I think that the reason why it was 7.4 and they thought it was going to be something far under that is because I think we bring a different kind of fan base. I bet you across the nation, all the mid-majors or the flyover states and all those people that have those teams and they love it because they're like, I'm pulling for that team that looks kind of like mine, and I'm tuning in. And so I think that's why those numbers are up.
You know who else loved it was Adam Silver, because he was talking about how the fact that you had teams that aren't. I mean, Miami's actually been in it a lot, but he's like those teams that are built from the ground up, did it the right way.
Yeah.
This shows the value of really building a team and drafting and all the stuff. He's kind of like talking about that in the presser about why he appreciates this finals.
Right. And then one more thing they got to him that I don't know if it was people, fans or whatever. They told him that we cannot watch the Nuggets on television.
Yeah.
And he said that's got to be fixed. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. He said, we need to look into that because we missed the boat.
We say all that to say if you're a Pistons fan or if you're a Spurs fan, keep
it up. Hey, shoot, Milwaukee.
Look, no, case in point to that same point, Kyle.
Oklahoma City.
Look at Sacramento.
Yeah.
They've been through the trenches, trench warfare, and my heart goes out because I see myself in Sacramento, Milwaukee. Those teams, Detroit. Yeah. I see that myself as a fan in y'all more so than the Lakers or the Warriors or you know what I mean, or even the Heat. You know, the Heat, like they're this is like year still 35 for them, something like that. I believe it's 35, and they've been to 5 championships. Sure. They've had a historic run. Like you know what I mean. People want to go play there. They have a actual historic tradition. You know what I mean? They have the Heat way now that's being coined and all that stuff. But like they do have a tradition of excellence. Yeah. Over the last 25 years. So the fact that you can just build from this, you know, second rounders, undrafted guys, that's the story of the NBA right now, and that's got to be something meaningful to franchises. Sure. Yes, it may not mean diddly poo to the fans watching or the casuals or the TV stations and the platforms is not getting the eyeballs, but for the actual sport, that's got to be promising for the individuals in it.
It is promising. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it was no different. Just I guess we said we can put it, but this is good. It's no different than when we were trying to go international. I think when we try to go international, we start getting first it was Yao Ming. Remember when Yao Ming come and we had Gina and a lot of people from the coast watching because of him. I think it's the same thing here that we're rallying our own continental America group of people who have these small market teams and maybe this says something that has never been there before and so I think that's who's watching.
Side note about China, I was just thinking about why the NBA game is able the time zone, because you're watching like early morning, midday games that are night. And that actually puts you in a good thing rather than like sometimes in Europe or Africa, it's in the middle of the night.
And they love Kobe and they love Charles Barkley and they loved our USA basketball team and it got all of that work.
Will Barton will be over there next year playing probably for Shanghai, like with him and Dwight.
And with that point, let's go to game one. Let's go to game one. So the Nuggets win game one in Ball Arena, 104-93.
Yes.
Who's your stars of the game? I like doing that. I like the hockey route of who's the 3 stars of the game for you.
Well,
for me,
you know who I'm gonna say.
Or we can each say one maybe.
Can I say the first one because Can I say the first one because I'm gonna say it? AG. I didn't say when we talked about this last time. I said Jamal Murray and Jamal did show. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't say who I would have normally said because Christoph said it. AG, but AG started it off. He started us off. And he with a bang.
He brought physicality
12
to the game
points in 11 minutes.
And I think that helps in finals games when teams are because you can get nervous. It's like sometimes you don't know if the game might be bigger than it. I really appreciate it, AG, and I'll jump in and say Michael Porter because they both brought a level of this is the finals and this is what we're doing in the finals. It wasn't waiting for the game to come to them. Nope. They said we're bringing the energy. Yep. So even if Jamal or Joker weren't ready from the tip off, even though they were. Those guys brought such a level of fire and passion. Absolutely. That it brought the whole team ready.
And Michael Porter should be mentioned. And Michael Porter he played out of
that was his star.
I was gonna say for Michael
said
Porter,
AG, he said MPJ.
I've seen some great games from him, some great shooting games.
But that was
great
the
offense.
best.
Overall, that was the best game I've ever seen him play. Defense and offense, mostly defense.
At a high level.
At a crazy high level.
And best sometimes is when you perform it. He performed it at the highest level of NBA basketball in the finals when it was needed. And
you're talking about blocks, steals, dunks, putbacks, physicalities, hitting the open jumper.
You know, it's funny. As the third star, we're finally gonna do what we said episodes ago about putting our one arm behind the back.
Sure.
My third star was Jamal Murray.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
And if in your finals debut, you go out there and put 26 and 10 on someone's head. Yeah. Like if you didn't have a 2-time MVP who put up a triple double on your team, like you are the story. You know what I mean? And even though he was 2 of 7, that's the beautiful thing. Like that they're saying, we'll get into this, but they're saying like here's the keys and like why Miami will be able to improve in different things because they didn't shoot well. They were like 2 for 29. There are 3 players that have been very active. As I look at it, from 3-point range, Jamal was 2 of 7. Michael Porter was 2 of 11. And we're talking about how good of a game they played. They just won game 1 of the NBA Finals playing B-.
Yes.
That was B- basketball. The rust started to show a little bit in the third and fourth.
Yeah, they were a little tired.
Their legs were tired. They weren't under them as much. The energy, probably the days off, not playing full games, playing at altitude. And then things just not falling. And you know what I mean? And playing in the finals. Playing in the finals, that's an exertion. Like you said, they came out and they dominated early. Yeah, that was a lot of effort.
Yeah,
and that started to fizzle. But the thing is, this team is so great in winning time. You know what I mean? Even though they got outscored by 10, they were up by 20, 21, I believe.
Something like that.
Like, they're just great in winning time. They could close you out.
Yeah.
And that's the fun thing I've watched over this postseason is watching this team win in all sorts of ways. They've had a couple blowouts. They've had a couple down to the wires. And each way, on the home and on the road, they just don't look the same. Example is they've won a game scoring 97 points. They've won a game scoring 132. You know what I mean? They play differently to whatever's presented. They did it, and that was a game where you don't have your best, and you're just.
And that's what I think happened.
But you gutted it through, and you got it done.
I think at the beginning you did see some of them, their legs weren't underneath them all the time at certain points in the game, even though they were just missing easy shots that they normally put in. And then you also saw it at the end of the game where it seemed as if no one was able to get a bucket for a little bit, and that's when Miami made that run in the fourth. But then what the ultimate part of that moment was when Mike Malone called the timeout. I think the Nuggets are still up by 6 or 7. And I think everyone turned their attention to Jokic. Is like, yo, Jokic, go get us 5. Go get us 6. He got us 6-7 points in that last part. And that's why, if you look at Jokic's stats, where he hits 27, 14, and 10, 14 assists, 10 rebounds, he really got those last 8 points in a row. Yes. He came out and just got him and finished the game for us.
He had 12 of their 20.
KCP's basket.
Was huge.
That calmed everything. That was a
championship.
That was a championship.
And to Chris's point, KCP only had 7 points.
But they were timed.
No, I get that. But I'm saying when you're talking about game 2 adjustments, Miami's going to be in a lot of trouble too because KCP's going to have a much better game.
Yeah.
Michael Porter probably will put more up than 14.
And he had more threes.
If he has a couple of those lands. So they're probably going to over-adjust. They're probably going to over-adjust on Jokic a little bit more to allow someone else. Or maybe they don't over-adjust on Jokic. They're guarding him a lot.
You know,
I'm going to say the opposite. They're not going to over-adjust on Jokic, which may give him easier buckets.
What I'll say to that, there's another dumb media narrative out there right now about like, just let Jokic score because when in a couple of their losses, he had 53 and he had 40. Just let him go. Let him go off, and like, no. Because here's the thing about it is like Jamal Murray, as every Nuggets fan, and I hope more and more casuals realize this dude will just go insane.
Yeah, he will.
He has the full capability, and he's a gamer at home.
He is.
Game 2. Like, this could be Murray just go.
And he don't care who's guarding him.
And guess what? He did in Game 2 last time. So, like.
In his last 6 playoff games. Okay,
you're getting this from Twitter.
Murray, from Twitter, We're just going to hope that it sounds pretty good. 30 points per game, 5 rebounds, almost 6. 5 rebounds, almost assists, almost 6. 2 steals, 41 points for his 3-pointers percentage.
41%.
Yeah, for 3 points.
57.6 from 2 points.
Yep. And
96.7 from the free throw line. So,
he's hooping.
Yeah, I mean, true shooting is 64%.
Over a 6 playoff game time.
To be fair, Jamal has only had 1 bad game this whole playoff.
Yeah.
Literally 1 bad game.
And that was way long time ago.
Well, it's game 2 of, was it LA or was it, game 2?
Not LA.
Game 2 against the Suns, right?
Or Minnesota. See, that's how far back
I think it was game 2 against the Suns.
The one we were at.
97 to 87 game?
Yeah, that one,
Yeah, that was the Nuggets' lowest scoring game. In
97.
Too. So Jamal has been very consistent.
Yes.
The other thing I would say is that they were the first two guys. I shouldn't say that. James Worthy, Magic Johnson, Scotty, and Pippen, and they're the
Did
third,
a couple times.
They're the third guys to ever do have 10 and 25 plus points in a finals game together.
Yeah.
So they are playing that 2-man game at a high level, and it showed. It was a really great. I
believe it was 10 assists and plus 25 points. I mean, yeah, but like if they can get this done, they're 3 wins away from immortality.
Yeah.
They become one of those duos of all time duos.
They will.
You could say Jokic and Maul, and you
people
got it. They're not Steph and Clay. They're not Magic and Worthy because they've done it multiple times, but they are it.
Yeah, and they have plenty enough time.
Speaking of national media, Kendrick Perkins did like a top 5 list. And
of what?
Of NBA duos. Like
currently or all time?
Of all time. It had to be a big man and guard.
And a guard.
So guess what he put at number 5? Messed up the whole thing.
Shaq and Kobe?
He put Steph and Draymond. I'm like, bro, you can't do a big man and short guy if you're gonna do Draymond. You're just making up stuff. But to your point, Chris, I think they could have definitely will crack that top 5 if they especially if they get this championship.
If they win
this team is already basically under contract another year.
Yeah.
The only person that you really got paid this year is Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
And let me say,
and if you let Bruce Brown go, like you could probably get like a crazy wing defender, but I think Bruce Brown should stay, come back.
I would love him.
Yeah.
Where else would you want to go? Only reason you would go is because you can just go get crazy money on the market. Like he's probably could get a $20 million a year.
But it would be his prerogative.
I couldn't be mad at him for wanting to get paid.
Whatever. We will beg him to stay though.
Especially to his point that he said last week, where he said last year nobody wanted to have me on the team because they didn't know how to play me, and
and all of a sudden like people know because they watched you how you played in this, which is true. The coaches are great. Back to your duo point really fast. Is that they would definitely pass Stockton Malone with this one win. And we know the regard that those two are held in. You know, they still have the points, longevity, and all that stuff, but they'd have the one thing that they were never able to accomplish. But yeah,
fault of theirs quoting against Jordan all the time. But
I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbled.
But
like,
finals, so.
But that a lot of people's careers are looked upon differently.
Yeah.
If they didn't play when they played.
Charles Barkley be
he would be there too.
You know, but think about Dominique Wilkins. If he's able to come out the East a couple times, but he kept running up against Bird in the Celtics. You know what I mean? Even Dr. J got his one. But, like, he ran into the Lakers a couple times. So, like, that's how the fun part about sports is legacies are always being combated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not Nuggets moment, right?
Well, that's fine. I was going to say that, they have time, Joker and Maul, because look at the ages. They're young. So was Joker 27 and what's Maul 26?
I think Joker's 29.
I think Joker is 28. Maul is 26. It's out there. I mean, it's very easy to find this.
Let's just Joker is 28. Just turned 28.
Just turned 20. I thought y'all was here in 27.
And Jamal must only be
1 year behind him, I think.
Yeah. But that's a beautiful thing. But also
26.
to that point, I don't get excited about that as much anymore because who was it? It was Anthony Davis. When they talk about Anthony Davis, he's 30, but he's been in the league 12 years.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like, they're young, but they've also have put a bunch of miles.
I only say that. I agree. I only say that because then they have opportunity to get some of these, longevity numbers that you're talking about. All the other people that do.
I think the only number I want from them is one.
Right now,
That's it. Once they get one, we
can we do 3?
No.
Here's fine.
Here's the thing. 3 more wins. Okay, I got you. I thought you were talking not one, not two, not 3.
Now we're talking about the Heat.
I thought that's what you were saying. I was like, chill.
You were saying what number matters to you. You said 1, and you meant 1 win. This finals win. I'm talking about 3 would do it for 3. Me is 3 days.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but did you know their birthdays are only 4 days apart?
Who's?
Synchronicity.
Jokic and Jamal.
Oh my goodness.
Synchronicity.
And were they drafted how many years apart?
Jamal.
2.
Yeah, just 2.
They're respected. No, yeah.
Jokic
Jamal was 2014. Right? Maul was 2017.
Okay, so a couple years. Yeah. Okay, I thought.
So, anyways, to the other side of this game, the Heat were coming off of Game 7.
Yeah.
They maybe weren't ready to come to the Mile High with the weather.
They had 2 days or
2-day rest. They came in, only lost by 11. National media says, hey.
You're talking about
national media says, hey, I'll take that loss. That's a moral loss.
A moral victory.
That's a moral victory. My fault. It's a moral victory, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the other side for the Heat, how do we keep them from getting back in the series in the game 2? Like, what do you see? I know what we did.
What Michael Malone would say, Coach? Play our game. That's how you keep
I didn't say play defense.
I mean, we're going to talk about it in more detail. I'm being facetious here, but he would say this. He would say, "Play our game. We don't have to worry about whatever they're going to be doing because we got stuff. If we play our game, we play defense." And we get back, we get back when
they got zero. Score. They got 0 points from Max Strus in 21 minutes. They got 3 points from Duncan Robinson in 21 minutes. Jimmy Butler had 13 in 38 minutes. Caleb Martin had 25 in 3 minutes. We locked them up.
Yeah, Caleb Martin had 3 in 25 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, three.
So, but that's what I'm gonna say. Like, they're not gonna have days. Strus is gonna come out, and he was getting some good looks. That's the thing about
change around. I don't think Bam goes for 26.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, and I don't think Highsmith goes for 18.
And the other thing too, the other thing too, if they give the ball to Jimmy, they can't give it to all the people to shoot the 3-pointers either. So they're gonna have to.
But Jimmy can shoot threes as well.
No, I get it.
My thing is Jimmy.
He's not a great.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is looking at it like this: who has the ability to go insano? Not Devin Booker level, but like Anthony Edwards level of insano.
No. Not Anthony Edwards.
Jimmy Butler. I think they're gonna make good adjustments. I think they're a well-coached team, and they're gonna play aggressive. They're fighters. They're gonna die hard.
Here's the
narrative. And my thing about this is they're gonna keep coming. It's the Nuggets' job to sustain, but then also score and use size to your advantage.
And they're gonna
because the one thing the Heat won't do is get bigger. And Kevin Love or Highsmith or Robinson, like that's not going to be the biggest thing for them. You know what I mean?
The adjustments that make it.
Not even Robinson, because he's not even on the team.
Tyler Hero comes in and he takes minutes from Caleb Martin, but either way, he takes minutes from Caleb Martin or he takes minutes from Gabe Vincent. And Gabe Vincent gave him 19 points.
And that's my point. You take the ball out of whoever, Bam, who got you 22, and you give it to Jimmy Butler.
26.
20, how much did you get?
26.
26. So then that means Jimmy Butler at least has to get that because you're taking the ball out of Bam's. And if they say they need to be more aggressive, they're going to tire her out. And so now you're asking them to make 3-point shots.
Not to mention, Bam took 25 shots to get 26.
Yeah.
So they got to get that ball out of his hand.
And so therein lies Mike Malone's point and what I just said that he would say, play our game. Yeah. The way we play it, however we play it, and make the adjustments.
But my thing is this: if they come back and they play an A game,
yes,
or an A+ game,
okay,
and the Nuggets come back and play an A game or an A+ game,
our game is better, no doubt.
That's what I'm saying. Is like we just went through the adjustments the Nuggets need to do. They shot. The Heat shot very poorly. Yeah. The Nuggets shot worse.
Yeah.
And the Nuggets were up by 21.
Not worse all over, just worse for 3 points.
From 3 points. But that was a sizable difference. And they didn't shoot free throws. So if they get to the line, they're more aggressive. They hit open looks because it wasn't like the Nuggets were closing out. Strus was missing wide open jumpers. So they're going to hit those this game. But the thing is, I expected them to hit them last game.
I did too.
So the Nuggets need to continue to play their game and fine-tune and hit more shots on their end.
Let the crowd carry them.
Let the crowd carry them and need an unsung hero. But, like, Highsmith could be something that, like, the national media hasn't. Because he has enough energy.
Oh, they're saying it. They're saying they're not saying it quite as Rui did,
Highsmith is not giving 18 points.
They are saying that he.
No, you know who's Rui this playoff series?
I thought it was Highsmith.
It's Spoelstra. Because Spoelstra is the he's the Rui, he's the Anthony Davis.
No, you're right.
He's the guy that's gonna shut it all down because he's a great coach that's gonna figure this out. You know?
Is he gonna get him length?
That's my thing.
Is he gonna get him heft?
Yeah,
I mean
the Nuggets really made this close.
Give them great defense
by losing their legs in the second half.
That's what happened.
They lost their legs in the second half.
Yeah,
no, fourth quarter.
No, it was the third. The third they really lost. They scored 25 in the. I was watching the game.
We outscored them in the first, second, and third.
I know.
And then in the fourth, we got outscored by 10.
But it started in the third.
Start there.
That's what I'm saying. They started to lose it. They started losing the back half of the third, and they just whatever it was. But looking at it from a Heat perspective, make your shots, make your wide open shots, and that's gonna keep you in the game because you guys are gritty. They gritted their way back into a 9-point. They got it within 9, I believe, is the lowest it got. So
can y'all find a stat? Because I'm gonna tell you what else. That I agree with everything you said, except for, like you said, we could get better. How many fast break points did we get? I mean, it didn't feel like we were running them and getting them tired that way at all to me. I mean, it maybe they did, but not like we normally did. It wasn't. We were more in half court. I thought we played more in half court than we did.
I'll let Chris look up that stat. In the meantime, rebounds we out rebound them 45 to 43, so by two. They out rebound us offensively 11-6, but we killed them on the defensive boards 39 to 32.
And then of course the talk has been how many free throws they didn't get, but they never did that.
Yeah, even the Coach Sproles said that in the fast break points, the Nuggets had 9, they had 4. Points in the paint is where they got killed, and I think they'll probably lose this battle every single game. They need to lose this battle every single game for the Nuggets to win the championship. The Nuggets scored 46. They scored 38.
Here's another one. The Nuggets have more turnovers, too. So we always have to clean. Anytime you can clean up the turnover game, you're already going to put yourself in a position to win, too.
They had 10, and they had 13 points off those turnovers. So I think the Nuggets are in a good spot. I'm after watching how they match up on the court, I'm still confident, very confident in my Nuggets in 5 pick. Will they sweep them?
We should. Honestly, we should, but I don't know. It doesn't always mean you will. Because I do think the Nuggets are.
I think they got heart.
I think we're a much better team than them, but they have heart and they're a great coach.
And they never give up. They never give up. But here's my thing.
Like I said, they die hard.
If you watch game 1, you look at that screen, it's like the Nuggets are just a better team. We would have to beat ourselves as much as they beat us.
Yeah.
And why I say die hard is because I watched the documentary. It was Walter Payton, one of the greatest football players of all time. When he was in college at Jackson State University, his coach used to say, as a running back, you should never die easy, always die hard. Mm-hmm. Meaning, in football, it's like always be turning your legs, moving forward. Isaiah Pacheco, Derrick Henry do a good job of that in current day NFL. The Heat are like that in their basketball mentality. Yeah. You're gonna get 4 victories, but you had to kill them each of those 4.
And I like how locked in the Nuggets are, because even I saw a clip of AG walking off the court, and the moment he's off the court, he's like, "We didn't finish that 4th quarter strong.
No, we didn't.
But we didn't do nothing yet." Nope. Like that's all the mentality.
Yeah.
It's like they're not
that's
fueled.
Their
coach. And you can hear Mike Malone in them now.
But to the same point, Heat are the same way. Uh-huh. They're like, we're still gonna get 4. Like, yeah, they drop 1, but the mission's to get 4. So the mindsets are both there. And you don't get to this point. You do not get to this point.
The Heat have been playing ahead the entire NBA Finals.
Yeah, they have been playing. That was where I was going. That's where I'm going. You said that point, but here's the second point. And if we get 2, they haven't been there either. Yeah. They've always, like you said, always had the 1 coming out of the early part. Because they've always been, they're going to themselves second. Because they didn't ever have court,
It's a little tease. It's a little tease for the 2-minute remaining segment. But the 2020, 2021 Bucks, the one that won the championship, they were down 2-0 in the NBA Finals.
Down 2-0?
They were down 2-0, and they won 4 straight.
But they lost at their house, didn't they?
And do they have Giannis on their team?
No. I'm just saying.
I mean,
if we have Jokic.
No. You weren't saying we're going to be down 2-0.
I want them to be up 2-0. I think the mentality just needs to remain game by game.
No, of
and that's
course.
what it is. So this one, if you win this one, you're up 2-0. You know, and you got to go to Miami. But it doesn't scare me so much going on the road right now because I lost it. I lost it when they went to Phoenix and they beat them the way they did on the road and closed them out. Closed them out. They beat them. Yes. And then just to solidify that you shouldn't be worried about this team on the road, they win not 1 but 2 in LA.
And they won 1 in
that
Minnesota.
Environment was incredible. Yeah. Incredibly difficult. And they got 2 of them. So now I don't think about Miami's being any more difficult than Jack Nicholson on the sideline.
And LeBron.
And
AD out there. No.
And rabid Lakers fans.
Right. No, I guess what I'm saying is because my thought was we're going to sweep them. Remember I said 4? I said sweep. Yep. They got to win the second one, of course. But what that does psychologically to a team that has been used to.
We can't lose at home.
We can't lose at home. That's been used to at least coming home the last 3 series with 1 win. Yeah. They won't have that because we've already taken care of that already. We got to win this. And then they won't have
you lock in here, like I said, you come out strong, you have the crowd push you, and you play your game.
So if the Nuggets lose, how did they lose?
I think the Heat would have
not
to been hitting
well.
I think the Heat would have to been hitting.
And I think the Nuggets would have shot well too.
Yeah, Nuggets are. I mean, because I do think the Nuggets tend to also rise up to teams making shots too. Like if they see other people making shots, Jamal Murray is like, I'm gonna go get mine.
I'm gonna go get mine.
So they have an ability to make shots with you. It just turns into a shootout game versus defense. I think would happen.
If that happens, then we could lose because we can't. That's not the team we are. The team that we are, we saw game one. That is the Nuggets.
For majority of it,
that is classic.
It might not be.
Nuggets.
It might not be how like we score and all that. No. It was the gameplay was classic Nuggets.
The gameplay. How many times? I heard so many people say Joker didn't even put up how many shots in the first quarter. I'm like, y'all don't watch us. So Joker has had many games that way. Maybe not he's had games like that before. That's not surprising because he's getting everybody else involved. And then when you need him, like he was in the fourth quarter, and we needed him to make sure, he could do that. But I think he knows that. I think he said, I could take the game over anytime I want to, but I want everyone else to get it because that's how a team should play.
No, I've heard that.
That's his philosophy.
I've heard that point being thrown around that the Nuggets didn't go to their advantage. Throughout the game, they got other people involved. They're like, yo, KCP, shoot that. MPJ, do this. AG, take advantage of your mismatch. Because everybody knows that their Nuggets' biggest mismatch against the Heat is number 15.
And so does who you said.
Yeah.
That's how Spoelstra thinks. And that's why they stayed the way they did.
That's why they stayed in the 2-3 because they didn't have to adjust because Nikola didn't try to take it over. I think they just keep doing what they're doing. I think if Gabe Vincent wants to cover AG in the post, please allow that to happen. And AG, all you gotta do is turn around and dunk it, make your layups,
and stop settling
and hit
for
your
the
free throws.
Shot.
Don't do the settled turnaround jumper. Like go to the hoop. I would rather you shoot a bunch of free throws than shoot a bunch of those turnaround followays.
He makes them, but it's just like you don't have to settle for that when you have Vincent on you.
If he does that because you have a mismatch, the Nuggets have a size advantage, and the size advantage is so like clear and evident to everyone. That's what you keep hearing. But it's the same point Kyle made back in the Minnesota series. The Nuggets are just stronger as well. They're just definitely strongest team remaining, and they need to stay to that. They really do.
So can we talk about one more Heat player that we didn't talk about, and I thought he made an impact in that fourth quarter, was Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry had 2 3-pointers, big threes.
He was the only person on their team with the positive plus minus.
Actually, So what about him? I mean,
he comes off the bench, and that comes down to us just having a good bench minutes. I was looking at the stats. Christian Braun played 8 minutes.
Yeah.
0 points.
And Bruce Brown,
Bruce Brown had 10 points. He had a good game. Like I said,
game.
That was my X factor. I thought he had a great game. Jeff Green, 4 points.
He did great.
Played fine.
He had one play that I remember that we had to have. Oh, when he cut, when Joker was in the middle, they were collapsing on him. He was on he clapped. He did cut to the basket, and Joker's guy gave it to him. So, and it was in a time when we needed a basket or whatever. So I just think everybody did their job, and if they can continue to do their job, we should get this done. But it's one game at a time, as Christoph said, and it is always that. And so, I just think
we're in the wait and see period of this season. You know what I mean? It's like pulling teeth in between these games.
But I will feel that when we get on here, if after the game tomorrow, because this is Saturday, the day before the game tomorrow, because there's a lot of time between
Saturday, June 30th.
June 3rd.
Yeah. 3rd.
3rd. I just think that, if they get the second game, if they get that game tomorrow 2-0 and we go down to Miami, I will feel so much better because now they have to, how many games is left out of the 7? 5, and they would have to win 4. That's a big deal. It's a big deal.
And we just go get one in Miami. Go get that game 3.
Anytime I see a team get to 2 wins, especially 2-0, the first image I think of is Mr. Bean Bryant at the podium's like, job not finished.
No,
they don't have that mindset because I hear them have it after 1. You know what I mean?
So I get that, but
going up 2 it's
critical.
It's so key.
It's critical.
And
you protect your home court, and you have the psychological advantage, the actual advantage. Then you just get one. You get that game 3, and you break the.
Because if they go back 1-1.
That's what they normally do.
It's just a series at that point. And that's what they usually
have done in every other series. I know they get it the first game, but if they get it the second, they're still going back one up.
There's the rampant Nugget fan in me and like the realist, I suppose, just wants to come in and be like, yeah, they can take this game. Jimmy Butler and them can get it, all this stuff. But, like, my eye test, the Nuggets went through KD and Book playing out of their brains.
Out of their mind.
Anthony Edwards, who
Just
deified.
Yeah, right.
He's the one player in the NBA right now. I'm like, he's got, everyone's like, what about the Nuggets? The Nuggets' potential. If they figure out what to do with him, if it's in Minnesota or not Minnesota, I don't know. I think could be one of the top 3 players in this NBA.
Ant-Man.
And if he plays that the way he played in that series, and it can build upon that, my goodness,
they need to get people.
He's
around
coming.
him.
He's coming. That's all I'll say about that. He's on his way. And then you beat LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
This team is different. It's just truly different. And so a piece of me just like, let's go out there. They throw the ball up, and I think the Nuggets will come away with it because they're just a good team.
And they had to beat them all
differently. I gotta be able to be.
And they had to beat them all differently.
Yeah.
They had with KD and Booker. That's your wing people. I mean, your guards.
And they went up 2-0 on them too.
Yeah, it's same. And that's the only one and that's where you're talking about 3-point shooting. Got to get better for Miami to even have a shot at trying to beat us. Well, we saw all of that. We saw the drives to the basket. We saw that, and they found a way to get that done with superstars. Those are all stars. KD is up there, and Booker's been a perennial all-star, hasn't he?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay, so there you go. I mean,
and I think outside of Strus having a couple like easy shots that he could have made that were just didn't rim out, the Nuggets did play really good defense. Like they were swarming.
Strus is missing wide open jokes.
As I said, besides Strus, like,
he's not gonna miss those. This could be a game. Game 2 is going to be a dogfight.
And Game 2 is always the
I've said
game.
it on the pod. I've said it out off the line plenty of times. I think the series really takes its form like the second, third quarter of Game 2 of any series, first round, second round, whatever, because that's the time like the adjustments have kicked in. Like you'll see adjustments in the first half, and then they'll adjust on their adjustment at halftime, and that's when you'll start to see it. And that's when, for me, and just watching sports, that's when the series starts to turn into a series. So we're now in that place, and we'll see what happens.
So KCP, I know you're listening. I know you are. Okay, bring your ring. Take your ring to that room again, and let them see it. Okay, because that worked last time. That worked last time. That worked last time.
Smell it.
Well, without further ado, 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
Chris, go ahead and open up the scene.
I just thought it was interesting. I was going through ESPN earlier this morning.
Lucky you.
After we had a nice little hoop session actually this morning. got a nice little run in, and then I came back and I was looking at ESPN, and they had a new thing that dropped this morning from Kevin Pelton, a senior writer for them, about NBA championship team runs, which have been the most impressive since 1999. So basically, since the Jordan era ended. Once that ended, so since 1999, so the last 24 champions. So this year, either it's Miami or the Nuggets. That'll be number 25. So of all those teams, if you're thinking about all those great legacies, the Spurs dynasty, the Lakers getting 5 in there, and the Warriors getting 4, there's been some great teams we watched. They have the 2016. Kevin has the top 3. I'll give you the top 3 that he has. He has the 2016, 2017 Warriors that had KD when the 73 win team. 73 win team loses, comes back, they get KD. That first one,
okay.
He said that's the best one?
Yeah.
What?
And when you do think about it, yeah, that's interesting. I'll give you it, but his main point is an interesting one. Number 2, he had the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers, the team Kobe and Shaq's second one. Mm-hmm. They three-peated the middle one of the three-peat. Mm-hmm. And what warmed my heart, at number 3, he had the 2013-2014 San Antonio Spurs.
Is that the Game 7 one when he throws the alley-oop? Is that in that series? Is that for Lakers?
No, that was the year prior. That's the year prior.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the one when they went 15-1 is the middle one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the 2013-2014 Spurs. So
why does that warm your heart? Tell us.
Because that was one of the best teams. When I saw this, I went to see where he had them ranked, and he had them at number 3, which warmed my heart because that was one of the best basketball teams I have ever watched in my life.
LeBron couldn't even do nothing with that team.
That team, I don't think too many teams in the history of basketball.
No, let's do the top 5.
That's Kawhi. All of them.
They had Kawhi, Manu, Timmy, Boris Diaw.
Yeah,
Patty Mills.
Parker.
That team was excellent.
And
the thing is,
Pop. And
Pop, yeah. And they had a team that could beat you. Like, Nuggets are out here, like, game one, they had a 7-man rotation.
Yeah.
That team would throw 10 at you. 10. Like, and it was relentless.
Yeah.
And that was an excellent team. I would have put the 2000-2001 Lakers number one because that team was that. I think about that one as the team in my childhood as being like absolutely dominant. Yeah. They were 15-1. The only time they lost was Allen Iverson's 48 on them in game one. You know, obviously the vintage Ty Lue game where he stepped over him and went into infamy. You know, thank God Twitter wasn't around because it would have exploded. But like that, you know what I mean? They went 15-1. But the point to his number one, and when I started thinking about it, I'm like, they have a point. They went 16-1
in the playoffs.
The 16-17 Warriors, they went 16-1. They only lost one time in the final. They only lost one game in the finals, and that was Game 4 at Cleveland because LeBron was like hell bent on like not getting swept.
Yeah.
But they swept the West, and then they were.
So
up
you say basically they did the same thing as the Lakers did.
Yeah. Except for the Lakers dropped game 1, they dropped game 4.
Gotcha. So what's the question?
So if you could rearrange your top 24 over the last, you guys are. I trust your basketball brains, and you watch championship level basketball, even though it's not the Nuggets. What would you say is your top 3?
Dominant runs in the playoffs.
Dominant teams. Dominant teams. So the top 5 he had was the 3 I mentioned. Then he had the 2014-2015 Warriors, which was the first one.
So he had 2 Warriors twice.
Yeah, it's one with KD, one without KD.
Okay.
Basically their first one and their first one with KD, and then they had at number 5 the 3-1 comeback Cavaliers team. So there's some honorable mentions.
That's the one I would have picked. I'd have picked the LeBron 3-1 comeback. Cleveland, that one.
I'll give you some. I'll give you the honorable mentions I have. And then I'll open the floor to you two.
Okay.
But at 10, he had the 2012-2013 Miami Heat, which was Miami's second team. Mm-hmm. The 66-16 team, which was dynamite. They had, at 14, he had the 2018-2019 Raptors. Mm-hmm. At 17, he had the 03-04 Pistons. At 20, he had the 2010-2011 Mavs. And at 21, he had the 2000.
So he had Chauncey and them at way down there?
At 17.
Huh.
The 2020-2021 Bucks were at 21.
Yeah, I'd say the Bucks more so was just Giannis being.
I don't know why they had. See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's why I said it's a tough.
Why are you talking about all the mid? You know.
No, he has it. He has it by adjusted points differential.
Oh.
And another one. Yeah. There's both the points differential.
Okay.
So that he had like a metric to guide this.
Got you. Okay.
And if you guys are curious, right now he said either way the Nuggets would probably be at 24, and the Heat would be at 25 if they were to win. And
so like basically the lowest.
Yeah, and which pisses me off a little bit. His reasoning on that is because he said that the Heat are an 8 seed and the Nuggets played the 7 seed Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. And so that dilutes.
Yeah, everybody.
That dilutes what they had to do.
Let's talk about that point, not put these other ones. That is what your statistics say. But your eye test said you beat what you were talking about. KD, Booker, Anthony Davis, LeBron. Come on. And then the Miami Heat beat. I know Giannis wasn't there, but one little part of the first game. But they still had the rest of the team that was champions.
Me and Christoph was talking about that. Do you realize the Nuggets beat KD, LeBron, CP3,
yes,
and Anthony Davis? That's 4 people in the NBA 75 list to get to the finals. I don't care what seed they are.
That's what
it doesn't matter what seed they are. Those are hoopers.
Here's the thing.
Those are all-time players. Funny enough, those players comprise his top 5 too.
No, I understand. But here's the thing. In order to have a 25 list, you got to have some valid way, I guess, to explain it. Like you just said, he used some type of metric that did this and that. Sometimes metrics only tell you what metrics can tell you, okay? Metrics can only tell you what metrics can tell you, not who played in them that was top 75 or whatever, because that needed to be factored in when you talk about us being now, if we got in this list.
I think that's a reason that's what made me happy that he put that Spurs in the top 3. is because I felt like that Spurs team is the one that could just get like swept up in history if had the advanced metrics don't put them there. So it's because, and why I say that is because they don't have the name brand or the name that kids 20 years from now will be like when they're looking back over the histories. They're like, oh, Michael Jordan. Then there's like this lull. Then you got Kobe, and then that decade. Like, that team is something in there. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but obviously they must have played just ones and twos the whole way.
Like we're watching it now.
Did they play ones and twos the whole way?
If Miami wins, you'll be like, yeah, their advanced metrics were low, but that team would grit you to death. Any team you throw against them in a 7-game series, you know Miami's going 6-7, and they're going to be in every single game.
Can I switch it up? Just the question.
And the Nuggets, obviously, they have one of the best players of all time playing at his peak. So either or, to put them at 24, so some kid in 10 years looks at it and be like, oh, they weren't that good. That's some BS.
But that's why I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna switch like this. I'll say from this question, I don't remember all the runs and who everybody beat and the importance of it. What I'll say is the teams that I appreciated winning, and me and you kind of talk about this, Chris, sometimes. Championships that were worth more than one championship, right? So to me, that Dallas Mavericks championship was worth 2. Dirk getting that cemented him as a legend way more than somebody that has 3 or 4 rings. Sure. So I'd say that's a stamp. I'd say KG getting his first one was a big stamp.
Oh, I love that game.
Moving from Minnesota to finally getting one, that's a big stamp. That one LeBron had with
that
the Cavs. See, the one that's how I said I don't even know his metrics. The one with LeBron winning his first in Cleveland was worth 2 because that was incredible, and it was the first time he ever brought a championship to Cleveland.
They're at 5.
So can you tell me his criteria? Because I'm going to call foul. No, I'm going to call foul on it because I'm in math. I'm going to call foul on his statistics because you're telling me all these teams only play 1s and 2s so that their numbers, when you add them up, are lower than ours.
Here we go.
Okay.
The sentence introducing the math and the metrics, it starts with this. Using the formula I created to weigh regular season performance as measured by point differential and by playoff dominance, points differential adjusted for opposition faced during the run.
So subjective.
Very subjective.
Okay, so no, let's speak no more. It's hyperbole.
Very subjective.
And subjective.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't be if you say he's looking at seedings and who you played to be a part of the metric, you got to play 1s and 2s to have the low number.
Yeah.
Because you're saying 7 and 8s on if you have 2 teams, 1s and 8, and one played 7, a 7 who had LeBron and 80 on it, that won't give you any. He should have weighted it. He should have weighted it.
He should have weighted it. And I do think that the 2012, 2013 Miami Heat team. That team was one of the best teams I ever watched. I think that was peak LeBron for me. Somewhat. I think peak LeBron was when he was carrying Dellavedova. Then
yeah, so that was it.
Yeah.
But peak physical LeBron, that team. When they went 66 games. They had like a 32 game. They like flirted with the longest winning streak ever.
So he looked at your regular season record.
But that team gets kind of hurt weirdly by the fact that they almost lost, and thank God Ray Allen bailed them out and hit the one in the corner. And Chris Bosh had the excellent one. Okay. The foul that wasn't a foul on Danny Green in the corner.
What that article does is hold conversations about these kinds of things, but nothing more.
I just thought it was interesting because anyway, if the Nuggets win or Miami wins, that's the 25th entry into this list.
Whatever. And
over the last 25 years, which I can say I watched the majority of it because that's been my upbringing in basketball is watching these teams win. If the Nuggets sweep, they're a top 10 easily in my brain.
Because they would have done 2. Two sweeps.
If they go 7, I think they're top 15. I would say top 12.
You know what I'd say? They're number 1 because it'd be the best team.
Hey, I like that. And therein lies
the Just Nuggets
podcast.
And without further ado, we will be wrapping up the show.
Yes.
You can find us on Twitter at Just Nuggets Podcast. We will be live tweeting during the games, as well as connecting with each other. From the Just Nuggets Podcast, we have Just Janet.
Go Nuggets.
We have Christoph Yalich.
Trace Moss.
You have your podcast's favorite point guard, K. Colley.
Yeah.